Hi again, I'm Pat with River's Edge Chef, and today we're going to make some oat cakes. Oat cakes are something between a cookie and a cracker, and I like them because they're not super sweet, they're really easy to make, they don't take long to do, and there's no faffing about with them. You just get them done. Anyway, so with the oat cakes we have 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar that's packed. You want to pack it so that there's enough sugar in there. 1/4 cup of regular granulated sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. And I use Morton's kosher salt. And then we have 10 tablespoons of melted butter with 2 tablespoons of boiling water added to that. So the butter is melted and the water that's been added to it is hot. So you want to make sure it remains hot. So we're going to put this in the food processor, the flour, 1 1/4 cups of the flour, 1/3 cup of the brown sugar, 1/4 cup of regular granulated sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. And we are going to process that to mix it up. You just want to make sure you get it well blended. Okay, that looks good. And then we're going to add 1 1/4 cups of old-fashioned oats. You want to make sure it's old-fashioned oats. It has to be old-fashioned, not the Scotch oats or quick oats or any of those. Old-fashioned oats. 1 1/4 cups. And then we're going to process this until the oats are chopped up well. Okay, that looks good. So now we're going to add the melted butter, which was 10 tablespoons of melted butter and 2 tablespoons of hot water. Okay, that looks pretty well combined. And now I'm going to take the mixture and I'm going to put it into some plastic wrap. This recipe comes together really quickly. It's really nice that way. Then you just press it together until you have a nice sized disc. You want it to be about 1/2 inch thick because you're going to roll this out. You're going to chill it down for about 30 minutes in the refrigerator. If you have a freezer, you can put it in your freezer for about 15 minutes. But my freezers are all in a different area. I only have a refrigerator up here. There's no freezer on it. So anyway, it'll go in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, and then I'll take it out, and then I will roll it out, and I will show you about that part of it. Okay, we are back. This has been in the refrigerator longer than 30 minutes because we went out and fed babies and did a little walk around out in the yard to look at things. Anyway, so we have our disc of oat cakes here, and we're going to have a parchment paper on the bottom and parchment paper on the top, and we are going to roll it out. It's going to be a little stiffer because it's been in the refrigerator a little longer than it should have been, but anyway, we will do it. To roll it out pretty thin, about 1/8 of an inch thick, And you can just use a cookie cutter. I'm going to use a cookie cutter of this size, which is probably, I don't know, maybe 2.5 inches. We have a series of them that is all different sizes, from like donut hole size all the way up to giant crumpet. Anyway, but I'm going to use this size here. And you could make these little biscuits any size you want. You could make them single bite size, 2 bite size, 3 or more. Anyway, so we're going to get this done and get them cut out and put them in the oven, and they're baked at 300 degrees for about 35 to 38 minutes. I like my cookies really crisp, so I kind of go for the darker side of baking rather than the pale. Okay, so now I'm going to cut these out. This is about 1/8 of an inch thick now. Try not to go over on the 30-minute chill down, because then it gets really difficult to roll this out. The butter fat really hardens up. Anyway, so I'm going to cut this out with a little cookie cutter here and place them on a sheet pan that has parchment paper on it. And then we're going to bake it for about 35 to 38 minutes in a 300-degree oven. Fish spatula comes in very handy for lifting these, because they have a tendency to crumble if you're not careful with them when you're lifting them. So a very thin spatula is good. So you'll just gather up the scraps and re-roll them, press them into a ball and then into a disc again, and then just keep rolling them out until you have all of the dough made into cookies. Okay, so here we have our oat cakes, and they are ready to go in the oven, and they're going to bake for 35 to 38 minutes or so until they're nicely browned and crispy. Anyway, we'll pop them in the oven now, and we will get back to you when they're done. Alright, so our oat cakes have baked. We bake them for 38 minutes at 300 degrees, and the thinner ones are a little bit browner, which I really like, and then the little bit thicker ones are a little bit blonder. But anyway, this is a really nice, quick, simple recipe to make, and it's not a real sweet cookie, but it's sweet enough to satisfy, and we like it with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.